Hi, I'm Maddie, and I'm going to be speaking about the corrections and errors I had made and the corrections that I had fixed them with for my first essay. Um, Overall, I think that, or one thing I had noticed was that a lot of the errors I had made were very repetitive. I made a lot of errors with ser or estar, as well as preterite versus imperfects, quite a few errors with sorry, I'm going back and looking at my paper and reading through it, with incorrect word usage or lack of prepositions. And because they were so repetitious, I was able to go back and kind of isolate them. And then, in my opinion, I think it was very helpful because now I know kind of the categories of what things I need to look out for in the future, whether it's both writing or speaking. And so, sorry, that's my dog. And so it's nice being able to have a lot of the same things. I feel like it's easier to notice and fix in the future. Oh my gosh, sorry, she's walking all over my computer. So to start off, the biggest issue I had with my paper was the fact that I had written it in third person rather than first. And so that did make for a lot of corrections I had to make. That was just something that I had missed somehow when I was reading the instructions, but it was an easy thing to fix in my opinion. It was just very tedious and time consuming. But I just kind of went through just sentence by sentence, clicking and fixing them, changing all of the words from I to her. And then once I was done, I just kind of moved on to each thing. One thing that I had done that I think was very helpful for me was, rather than going through the list of everything and through each sentence, I kind of went through the categories. So I would look and see, okay, here are the mistakes I'd made with the ser or to start. I'm going to go through each of those. That way I kind of had my mindset and specifically what I need to fix. And I think that it helps me focus and not look over something and make another mistake. Like I was saying before, ser or to start was another very common mistake I had made. One of these examples was in the sentence, mi clase favorito estaba español y es parte de la razón que estoy tomando clases de español todavía. And this error was made in the beginning where I'd use estaba. And so when I was going through and correcting stuff, I changed estaba to era. There was another few more examples like that, but I'll move on to another kind of category I had to make. Another really common one was concordance. And this kind of varied from like whether it's a plural or singular verb or feminine or masculine word. And so one of these examples was, I'm trying to find one, sorry. One of these examples was in the sentence, same sentence as before, mi clase favorito estaba español. And so rather than it being favorito, I changed it to mi clase favorita estaba español. Another example was in the phrase, yo mess up that entirely. Yo estaba en clases más difícil than las clases regular. And the issue with this was that they were singular. However, I was talking about classes plurally. And so I went back and changed them to difíciles and regulares. So that way the adjectives would match the words I was using. As well as those, there were a few, and like one of the things that was very common was I needed to change them to preterite indicative. And so in one phrase that I had to do was, en conclusión, yo tenía una infancia y adolescencia divertido. And obviously in this sentence, not only did I have to change the preterite indicative, but I also had to change it to ella instead of yo. And so I'll use that in like this next example of how I changed it. And so in that I changed it to, en conclusión, ella tuvo una infancia y adolescencia divertido. But it's kind of like, essentially overall what I had done was, like I had said before, was categorize them and go through each category and then adjust them to what they needed to be. But that's kind of a short example of how I went through and changed them. Obviously, there were more errors and other things that I did need to change, but these were kind of what summarized the majority of it. So, bye.